Welcome to So You Think You Can Write, where we give serious writing critique without taking ourselves too seriously. My name is Lindsay, and with me here today is
Adrienne Quintana,
Donna Hatch,
Janette, Rallison, and a whole bunch of people from the Annual Conference.
That's right, and they haven't booed me once yet, I don't think. If
Yeah.
they did,
feel free to boo Randy.
I turned a deaf ear to it, so it didn't bother me.
Yeah, that would be fun. How about audience response this time? And if you feel a boo or a yay, let's hear it.
Oh yeah, you wait until I'm reading to do that, right? Thanks.
Don't make him nervous, but yeah, boo a lot.
Okay. And you know what? If you don't know how the show works by this time, I'm not going to tell you. So we're just going to go straight on to the reading. They will call me a traitor, but nothing I do against them or anyone who matters really. But nothing I do is against them or anyone who matters really. All I have to do is save my family, my home. The man I'm told will be my husband. They will not live past this night if I fail. So that was almost as quick as mine.
It just feels a little bit like an info dump to me right away. Like, I don't know where I am. I know that she's gonna, she's against them, but I feel like it's a bit of an info dump right at the beginning.
Well, and the thing that bothered me about that was we're reading they and them a lot, and it's
Who are they and
yeah,
them?
like using they the first time is okay, but then after that, can we say the Queen's Guards or the Mafia or
Yeah, and can we be put down in a scene right away, because we're learning the stakes, but we don't know where she is. We don't know what's happening.
All right, we don't know the setting.
Yeah.
All right, so I cannot. I ride north to Townsville after dark. The wind is cold and sharp against my cheeks, numbing
There's the first paragraph. There's where it starts. Sorry.
numbing my nose and biting my lungs. The hood of my riding cloak blew off my head within the first 2 minutes. My fair horse, Roger, is fast, fitting for an animal of his... Were you buzzing my reading?
not your reading. Your
Okay.
reading is beautiful.
Okay, thanks.
There's a lot of my horse is fast, the wind is cold. It's present tense. Usually, in the past tense, is the bad boy, but if you're writing present tense, is the writing bad boy. You need it sometimes, but in cases like this, you can say the cold wind bit my nose and my cheeks instead of the wind is cold and biting my nose. And that happened twice in that paragraph. That's too much. That's going to get a rejection because agents and editors are looking for a reason to get through this humongous slush pile. And if they see too much of this, and that's gone. So, yeah, watch that.
His legs pump and propel us quickly through the red forest path, even snarling and out of breath. He's a beauty, but all fair horses are. It's what they're engineered to do. It's what they're engineered for. The red trees and burgundy moss are a blur in my vision. I pull the reins hard to the right so as not to miss our turn. Roger obeys like he always does. It's no wonder he was my father's favorite, strong...
Okay, I'm sort of feeling like, okay, we started off with this high stakes about she's in danger, but then I don't have any goal except for that she's just writing, and is she really thinking about how beautiful her horse is at this moment, or is she thinking of somebody following me? I only have so many hours to get to safety, or that just seemed like a little bit of a disconnect. That if she's in danger, what are her actual thoughts, and give us a little bit, more, and not as an info dump, but as she's going along, what is she actually thinking? And hopefully this will tell us about the danger and what her goal is, how she's going to get safe. Like, for all we know, this is just they're gonna kill me and I'm out for a fun ride on my horse.
On my pretty horse.
Yeah, my Roger.
It doesn't say pretty horse, I just added
We
that.
know it's pretty.
It's a good
We know.
description, like the
Yeah, it is good
autumn.
description.
I can see the leaves, yeah.
Strong and capable, he's able to ride an entire hour's journey with only one period of rest. Soon, Townsville appears just ahead. Larger than a village, yet smaller than a major town, this place is mostly made of farmers and poor tradesmen. That and the dark folk who do their business here. I know I'll find what I'm looking for. Roger slows to a gentle walk. There are few out at this hour, but those I see are the types my mother always warns me about, the vile ones who don't mind trouble. I quickly scramble for my hood and pull it over my head again, tucking strips of blonde hair into it so as not to attract attention. Light hair like mine piques the interest of most people. My mother almost dyed it pink. She was so afraid of losing me over it. It was my father who stopped her. "You there," a drunken man calls to me from against the first building's stone wall, a blacksmith shop. I hang my head and ignore his greeting. He says it again. Roger gives a protective snort and doesn't break his gentle pace one bit. But that was scratched out, so should I read that or should I not read that?
Just leave it.
If you submit something to us, don't cross something out and leave it in there, okay? So he doesn't break his gentle pace. I rub his neck in gratitude. The man's mumblings are lost in the night wind behind us as we press into town. Another minute passes until I cannot go any further with Roger. He immediately stops when I tell him, then gently nudges me with his head to say goodbye. His coat is pure white and irregularly soft with a subtle sparkle to it. "Go until I call you," I whisper to him. He cannot stay and watch in a place like this. Someone will surely try and steal him. Although with Roger's loyal spirit, it wouldn't be an easy task for a thief. Roger neighs softly and walks out the way we came. People's heads turn to watch him leave. I breathe deep, then take in my surroundings. The blacksmith shop is behind me, and up ahead a baker, but it's not what I need. Since I have no time to wander, I gather any courage and approach the nearest man. He's old and appears harmless.
He is old and appears harmless. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
First of all, I just want to
Is
say
he not
that if
supposed
I
to-
ever have a horse, I'm going to name it Roger. That was
amazing horse.
yeah.
I had a son, and I named him Roger.
Not quite the same as a horse named Roger, though. You know what I mean? It's like, it feels right to me.
Okay, it does not. All right, so I still, after the end of that, I didn't know what her goal was, and I don't know what the danger is.
We have a
except for
whole bunch
them.
of what it's not. We don't need the baker. We don't want to see the baker if we don't need the baker. I don't anyway.
Yeah, I winced a little bit when she said taken my surroundings because I felt like she'd really already taken in her surroundings. But then it didn't continue on to have a lot of description, so that was good. But yeah, a lot of good stuff that probably should be sprinkled in later.
A lot of the backstory.
The backstory and the description of this beautiful horse probably could have waited, at least some of it.
Yeah.
Maybe for better light or something, because wasn't this at night? Or was
Yes.
it daytime? I thought this was at night.
It's at night.
It's at
So-
night, but we do see things like it might be in the daytime, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and the sparkles might have been, I mean, maybe they went under a
Maybe they're moon
lamp,
sparkles.
Or the moon, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we need a little bit more just to feel like it's night. Like,
And it felt kind of like a fantasy to me, which of course we'd know the genre depending on the cover or whatever, but a horse named Roger felt to
Our world.
our world, yeah.
That's true.
So it didn't seem like a fantasy name, but
I don't think this story really starts here.
I agree.
Honestly, I think the story for me started to be more interesting when she reached the town. And I wouldn't even tell what size the town is and all of that because I don't know if it's important. It didn't feel important to me. But when she saw the guy, when she saw the sneaky man or whatever, like that started to feel a little suspenseful to me. And so I would start it right there, maybe, and skip I mean, you could give a little description of the horse that she's riding and that as she goes. But if you started it with the mysterious man, give us a feeling of the darkness, then you could get to what her actual goal is faster than when we're riding through the forest, because nothing happened riding through the forest except for the info dump of backstory. So I think you could get that while something exciting's happening.
Okay, I'm going to throw out a radical idea here. I think this is a story about a horse named Roger. Okay, because it's the only name we have is
True.
Roger the horse, the pretty horse Roger, and really most of the details we have are about the horse, and the horse actually shows more personality than whoever I is. Okay, so the most interesting portions of this for me were the horse and not because that's my son's name, but that was, that was a part of it, but that wasn't the main reason. But it's a much more interesting character. So if the horse is not the main character of this story, you might want to consider not making him more exciting than the main character.
Or at least not so prominent. I was interested in the idea that she could whisper into his ear and know that he would hear and understand and obey her. That was cool, which is part of what made me feel like this was maybe a fantasy.
Yeah.
So that part was cool. But yeah, maybe a little less about the horse. The opening line was great, though. That was a fantastic opening hook. So maybe start with that, and then I slid off my horse Roger, whispered into his ear, and went and found the man who was going to save me from ruin, or whatever. I think would have been a better place to start.
I think you're right. I mean, we really need to know the setting. Obviously, this is probably not a modern day tell, but whether it's historic Earth or it's fantasy, that's going to really help us understand, right? Because if the horse understands, that could have to do with the magic of the world or the setting. So yeah, we need to have a better idea at the beginning what kind of setting we're in, so that everything else gets framed by that information.
Yeah, and again, my biggest and all of these ones that we've read, I feel like they're not written by beginners.
Right.
Like these are people who have mastered a lot of the craft of writing, but that doesn't mean you don't still need to revise a bunch, because we all do.
Yeah.
But we need to know what the danger is and what her goal is, and her thoughts should stay true to this, unless it's not really a big danger and not really a big stakes. But if your life is in danger, or if your family's life is in danger, that's what you're going to be thinking about. And so we need to see more of that to know, is this really a big problem, or is this a little problem, or so.
Okay, so let's go to voting on it, because we're out of time.
Okay.
So we'll start with Janette.
I'm going to give it a set. I like the situation. It starts with something interesting and tension, and I do feel like the relationship between the girl and the horse is interesting, and who doesn't love a horse story? So but I think we need to work a little bit more on it.
I'm going to give it a right, because it felt a little bit more like the kind of rough drafts that I do, where I put in way too much description and backstory for myself. And then, although it wasn't like full of errors and stuff, but it still felt kind of that there needed some major editing, things to delete, or things maybe to push down later, and just a lot, maybe a lot of it could be fixed with copy and paste. I don't think it felt closer to a rough draft than something ready to submit to an editor or an agent.
I'm going to give it a right also. I like the setting. I like what's happening and that it's leading up to something, but I would cut a lot of that first part about the horse and then get to the goal quicker, and then just sprinkle the description of the horse and all of that in there. But I think it's a good start, and it sounds like an interesting story. I just would want to get to the goal sooner.
And I'm going to give it a right. I think we need to have a more clear understanding of the setting, and we start with a great opening line, and then we completely lose the impact of the line, because she's talking about the horse and everything, and we get so much focus on the horse, and we get away from what was an exciting dilemma at the beginning of it. So I think that maybe this is not the right place to start it, and it definitely needs to be worked on before it is sent in, although the writing is very clean and it has a lot of potential. All right, so did we get it right? Feel free to leave comments or send comments to us at readysetwritepodcast@gmail.com.
Or beat us up right after this.
No, don't do that, because that would be me. Yeah, thank you for throwing me under the bus. All right, until next time, get ready.
Get set.
All right.